All right, welcome back to another one of our film reviews. Today we are talking Houston Texans rookie offensive tackle Aireontae Ersery. And guys, it was sort of a physical, nasty second half against the Buffalo Bills, and Ersery stepped up to the plate. A little beat up, but this rookie stood to the challenge the Buffalo Bills were bringing, and he had a big second half. Obviously, the Texans offense, a little slow that part of the game, but Ersery, this young left tackle, he answered the mail despite being injured, despite battling through some adversity. Love what I saw from this young tackle. We'll break down everything. As always, for those of you who are a fan of these film reviews, consider becoming a member. It's a big help to our channel. But without further ado, let's jump right into the film. All right, we're going to open up with a little screen game. There's Aireontae Ersery right there, lined up at left tackle, of course, for the Houston Texans. And Ersery's going to pass set for a second, then release downfield to block. Center's going to block as well before he releases. Backside guard, the right guard here, he's going to work down the line of scrimmage before he releases as well. It's going to be a play fake to the running back this way. Davis Mills is going to fade to him, work this direction, and then hit Mills as he leaks out. I want you guys to watch Ersery right here. There's really no one for him to block initially downfield, but he goes and finds someone and puts him in the dirt. I love his mentality. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's the play fake. There's the screen. Blockers in front, north and south. Good blocking. Gets the first down. Now, came back due to penalty, but pretty well executed outside of the penalty. All right, let's break down Ersery. So right here, he's trying to pass set against number 50 to rush him upfield to help sell the screen, but 50 drops in his own coverage. So he kind of sits there for a second, then releases, and now he's looking for someone to block, but there's nobody there, right? You can see what the Bills did. They brought number 8 on the backside blitz, and they dropped his zone coverage behind him, and you can see the defensive end in zone coverage right here, number 50. He's kind of the only guy out there, so they got this set up pretty well for the Houston Texans. But I love Ersery's mindset. He's looking for someone, looking for something, and finally he's like, well, the heck with it. I'll just deplete that guy, and puts him in the turf. I love it. Be a nasty physical dude. And look, Ersery, it's a tough game. It was a physical game. Thursday night games are the worst after playing the previous Sunday, and Ersery was beat up. But he responded in the second half, playing a physical brand of football. He executed at a high level. Was it absolutely perfect? No, but the Texans found a way to get it done. Obviously, their defense was the real hero of the day, but I looked at what Ersery did down the stretch, and I was really impressed. His physicality, his execution really showed a lot to me on a short week against a good team. All right, from the wide copy, you can see Ersery right there at left tackle, sell pass set, working downfield, looking for someone to block. There's just nobody there. He finally does something I really like, is that he just finds somebody to hit. Listen, if you're a lead blocker on a screen or downfield in a similar situation, just find somebody. If there's no one initially right in front of your face, just clean somebody's clock, right? Good things will happen, and that's exactly what the young tackle does. Finds them and sends them to the turf. I love that. Watch this guy. Boom. Oh, boy, oh, boy. How about downfield? You want to see this in the middle of your screen? Boom. I tell you what, this Texans bunch, they're a physical group up front. Obviously, found a rotation they seem to like. Again, not perfect, obviously, offensively, still dealing with a ton of injuries. But in terms of the style of the play, I liked it, right? It was physical, it was nasty, it was kind of ugly football, if we're being honest, in the second half across the board. But listen, sometimes you got to win ugly, and that's what we saw from Houston. Good job from Ersery right here, delivering an impact block. All right, how about some pass protection? There's Ersery right there at left tackle with a heavy tackle right there, Blake Fisher to his left. And it's going to be a play-action pass right up the middle, and the quarterback's going to set up in the pocket and look to throw downfield. Now, this is a situation where in the intent to sell run, they have everybody on the offensive line, including the heavy tackle, take the gap inside. So the left tackle right here, the heavy tackle, he takes the gap inside. Ersery takes that gap. Left guard takes this gap. Center takes this gap. And these two guys right here, this right guard helps here while looking at this gap, and right tackle works out man-on-man there. And the tight end over here looks at anyone coming potentially off the edge. And this is a situation, again, where if you're in this kind of pass protection mode and you fire out and take this gap, he becomes your guy. You have to understand the environment, right? 45's walked up. If he goes back this way, you know that the heavy tackle next to you is going to be occupied with him. So even though you may have this gap, if this guy loops around, that's your responsibility to stay on him and just keep running your feet and finding a way to get it done. Ersery does get it done. I liked it. Let's check it out. There's a snap. Play action. All day to throw. Deep out. First down. Beautifully done, guys. Beautifully done. All right, let's look at Ersery. Takes the inside gap. Good job there. Again, you're trying to sell run. Look at these linebackers initially. Right there, they think it's run. Look how close they are to the line of scrimmage. And now they have to drop into coverage. All day to throw. And is able to hit the deep out. Comeback route on the outside. Well done there. Takes good protection. How about Ersery taking the inside away? But when the defensive lineman jumps back out, he doesn't let him go, right? Technically, right here, he's in his gap. This gap to his left isn't his responsibility. But he knows, because Blake Fisher has a guy head up inside of him, that Fisher's not worried about anything to his right. Fisher's going to be focused 100% on this guy. Ersery understands that. They probably communicated it during the week in game plans and probably during the game as well, saying, listen, if this guy comes back around, you got to pick him up, Ersery, and Aireontae does right here. Again, is it the prettiest block in the world? No, but he runs his feet and drives him out of the way. I mean, this is what it comes down to, guys. Would you rather look pretty or would you rather win? And Aireontae Ersery is a guy that technically, with his feet and a lot of times with his hands, not the prettiest in the world. But guess what? It's winning football, just like we saw Thursday night. All right, from the wide copy, get a really good look at it right here. You can see quarterback has all day to throw. Throws it out to the bottom of the screen. He's got his man for a big first down. Look at this protection. Look at this job by Aireontae Ersery, selling the run, taking the inside. When the defensive tackle goes out, he stays on him and keeps running his feet. He's still on him. Look at this. Guys, that's really good pass pro. Again, is his pad level a little high? Maybe. Are his hands in a perfect spot? No. Does he get his feet together and lose his base? Yeah, technically. But is it winning football? You better believe it is. Is it figuring out a way to beat a really good team to keep your playoff hopes alive? You bet it is. And that's why I like Aireontae Ersery, guys. He is a mentally tough football player, and he showed it against the Buffalo Bills. All right, going back to the running game, and there's Ersery right there, of course, at left tackle for the Houston Texans. This is going to be a fun concept here, a pretty fun design. It's going to be a wham-bam concept. They're going to leave this three technique, this defensive tackle unblocked, firing right up the middle. They're going to take the fullback right here and basically blast him right in the side of his ear hole. They're going to take the guard and pull him this direction, the guard here and pull him this direction. They're going to take the center, have him work up to 45, and Ersery right here work up to 7. They're going to have the tackle right here try and work out to this defensive end right here and have the tight end work across the face right there to try and get up to the linebacker. It seems pretty convoluted, but basically you're trying to get a seal here, and to get all these guys up to the next level just like that so the running back can hit it. The reality is the defensive end over here kind of blows the play up, but Ersery does a really good job. He gets up to the next level and blows number 7 literally off the screen. I love the foot drive once again from the young left tackle. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's a handoff. There's a blast. Not a whole lot there. Decent little run. You can see right there on the left side of your screen, see how the tackle's trying to work out Trent Brown and the tight end's trying to get around the defensive end. They really can't. It becomes kind of a mess right there. It's one of those situations where if you're expecting this defensive end to take kind of a different approach, and right here, if you're this tight end right here, you got to kind of work around it a little better than that. That's the heavy tackle, Blake Fisher. It's a tough situation. 50 kind of screws that play up. But let's look at Ersery right here. Getting up to the next level, gets on 7, and blows him off the screen. That's what it's all about, guys. Remember, the run is all the way over here to the right. And where's number 7? About 20 yards, when I say right, I mean the right side of the offense, left side of your screen. And number 7 is completely on the right side of the screen, the left side of the offense. And it's all because of Ersery. Gets on his man, drives his feet, and runs him out of the way. I love this from the tackle. I love the path he takes, too. Again, he goes to the correct shoulder. He doesn't go to the wrong shoulder. He doesn't get him square up. He goes to the correct shoulder and then runs his feet. Good finish. Compare that to the center, right? Center works up to the next level, gets on the linebacker. He's just squared up, allows 45 to potentially play off the block. Now, the center does a good job staying with it, but in terms of, head placement, body placement, could be a little bit better from the center. You would like him, ideally, to be a little bit to the left of 45, kind of the way Ersery is with 7 right there. Aireontae Ersery, nice rep. All right, from the wide copy, get a really good look at it. You can see Ersery right there at left tackle. He's going to work up to the next level. Good body placement and just drives him and stays on him. He's still on him. Nicely done. Look at that. Number 7 at the end of the play. Who's the only Buffalo Bill not near the pile? Right? Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Bills. Where's number 7? He is blown out of the way by your young left tackle. Love to see it. This is gutsy football. This is winning football in prime time against a good football team. This is what the Houston Texans have been waiting for. Now, Ersery's been playing really well this season. He's gotten better and better, but we're seeing the toughness. We're seeing the ability to overcome adversity. Short week, obviously, very little rest. You're beat up. Good football team, must-win kind of game, waiting for C.J. Stroud to come back, and then you have a young left tackle stepping up, just like we see here. Phenomenal job by the rookie. All right, sticking with the running game, there's Aireontae Ersery right there at left tackle for Houston. It's going to be an inside zone concept right here. We're going to get a base reach by the tight end, base reach by the heavy tackle, Trent Brown base reach on the linebacker, right guard base reach, center working up to the next level, and backside scoop by the left guard, and backside scoop right there by Ersery. Running back's going to take a handoff going this direction and try and just find a hole wherever he can in this situation. Now, this is a really tough assignment for the Texans offensive line because you can see the Bills, they got a lot of guys near the line of scrimmage. And you can look at Ersery specifically, right? He's right here at left tackle, and they've got a defensive end lined up basically as a 3 technique on the outside shoulder of the left guard who is going to be barreling down this way to crash the play. So you got a wide scoop. You got to cut him off. Now, this block is really hard. Normally, when you have a 3 technique on the backside, you rely on your teammate, your buddy, the left guard here, to do a tight scoot technique to kind of work straight up the field before he gets up to the next level to hold this guy here. The problem is, for the left guard perspective, he's got one technique he's got to cut off. So right here, Ersery's on an island. He's just got to figure out a way to get it done and get this guy cut off on the backside. The play doesn't work for Houston because Trent Brown doesn't do a great job, but the young left tackle, he does his part. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's a handoff. Nowhere really to go. Minimal gain. Now you can see right here, Trent Brown, the linebacker kind of undercuts him, creates the pile, basically kills the whole play. The backside defensive end, who's going to be unblocked, I actually think that's a safety in this case. You know, when you have this kind of penetration, safety unblocked, that's going to happen. But if you look at Ersery, getting this guy cut off on the backside, folks, that's good. Because if they block this just a little bit better by Trent Brown, let's say Trent Brown just does what, let's say, 57 is doing there and just kind of has him around the line of scrimmage. I'm going to play this just for right here. Right there. Let's say Trent Brown is right here next to 57, right? 57 for Houston, Fisher. Look at this crease between 79 and 71 right there. You can kind of see it, guys. I'm not saying it's going to be a touchdown, but this thing is close to hitting. And sometimes these plays are one block away from being a touchdown or a really big play or no gain. And obviously Trent Brown, number 77, he's the big reason why on this one. But Fisher right here, I'm sorry, Ersery, excuse me, Fisher on both sides there as the heavy tackle, but Ersery over here on the left side, really good job. Running his feet, doesn't hold. I understand he's grabbing the jersey a little bit there, but he's doing a good job not hugging, not tackling, anything like that. I tell you what, I love the effort. I love the foot speed. I love the fact that he's working horizontally and then vertically, right? 1, 2, 3 to get horizontal, and now he starts working vertically. That's good. That's good wide scoop technique. Now, again, you could argue he's a little high. I would love to get your pad level down a little bit. I get all of that, and that's 100% fair. But he's getting it done. This is a tough block and really well executed by the young left tackle. All right, from the wide copy, get a really good look at it. Again, the Bills are all around the line of scrimmage. And you can see, right, there's nothing but green grass in the middle of the field. They were committed to stopping the run. And as this plays out, you can see right there, there's a crease, guys. This had a chance to be a touchdown if Trent Brown doesn't get blown up at the point of attack, right? If Trent Brown just keeps his guy, at the line of scrimmage, they got a chance. Or the running back cuts it back and it's 1-on-1 against 24 for it being a huge play, right? Because you can see DB's on the ground over here and then there's one safety, right? There's not exactly a lot of Buffalo Bills out there. And it's because of Aireontae Ersery getting a great scoop, great wide scoop. Doesn't give up any penetration. Where's the line of scrimmage, guys? To 25. Where does 50 end up for Buffalo? Right around the 26. So again, he actually gets a little bit of movement actually at the point of attack. Wonderful job right here. Great technique, great effort. Again, great toughness, overcoming some pain. He had some lower body injury, of course, throughout the game. Found a great job to just get it done and come away with the win. I love the mentality, and I love the execution by Ersery. All right, how about some pass pro? And there's Ersery right there at left tackle, of course. So it's going to be a stunt here for the Buffalo Bills. So we're going to have this three technique, this defensive tackle right here, three technique we call him because he's on the outside shoulder of the left guard. He's going to fire upfield and work around, and they're going to loop the defensive end inside. It's a standard tackle and stunt, what they call it right here. And Ersery does a great job. He doesn't take the cheese. He's got the defensive end out wide right here. He stays home. He expects a defensive tackle to come to him based on alignment, and does a great job with great technique, locking him down in this one-on-one pass rush situation. Let's check it out. There's a little motion. There's a snap. There's a stunt. Handled beautifully. Great job. Short throw. No gain. Maybe lost a half yard. Let's look how they handle the stunt here. I mean, this is picture perfect. That's really well done. That's outstanding. Great pass pro, guys. Hand this off beautifully. Look at this left guard. He punches the defensive tackle, throws him basically into Ersery, and then works laterally to pick up 50. That's a great job by the left guard. How about Ersery? Stays home, stays home. See how right here he mirrors 50? See how if 50 stays in this position? Now watch what happens with 50 takes one step to the left. What does Ersery do? Go to the left. Go to his right, the left side of your screen. And now he's ready to pick up the defensive tackle. Stay square on him with a good base, good hands right there. This is so good, guys. Good technique, good communication. Again, the young left tackle, we talked about this already with Aireontae Ersery, knows how to play at the NFL position at a much higher level than you would expect from a rookie, and he's getting better and better and better, overcoming adversity against a really good team, short rest, Thursday Night Football, all the stuff I've talked about. What a job here by number 79. All right, from the wide copy, you can see Ersery right there. Handle the stunt, pick it up. Some pressure. Mills has to check it down, so really not a great play overall for Houston offensively. But if you look at how they handle the stunt, I mean, this is picture perfect. This is clinic tape stuff, right? That's it. That's great protection, guys. When have we said that from this Houston Texans offensive line in prior years? Great protection. They play a good team, Buffalo Bills, primetime, big game. When have the two words great protection been uttered? There it is. Good communication, good technique, hand off the stunt, give the quarterback time. No one's open, has to scramble, hit the check down. Listen, that's going to happen sometimes even when you have good pass pro. But I tell you what, Texans fans, you should be excited by this because there's going to be opportunities the rest of this year and for many years to come for your offense to generate big plays with pass protection like we see here. All right, going back to the running game, and there's Ersery right there, of course, at left tackle. And it's going to be a pretty simple concept here for the Houston Texans. We're going to get a double team inside, working up to the linebacker, double team right here, working up to the next level. Fullback's going to go in motion and try and kick out this direction. Tight ends go in that direction. A running back is just following them just like this. On the backside, you've got a base block here. And Aireontae Ersery, his job is just to kind of anchor down technique and make sure this defensive end doesn't blast inside this direction and just keep them on that side of the offense. And this is what happens when you wear someone down on a Thursday night game, when you just really demonstrated your will and your fortitude. 50 basically collapses on this play, right? He's being run upfield and tries to circle back around, and the feet give out, and Ersery's able to just pile drive him and lay on top of him and finish the play. When you exert your will on the opposition, you get these kind of blocks. Let's check it out. There's the motion. There's a snap. Inside run. Not a whole lot there. All right, this is not good by the left guard, guys. Yeah, that's not very good. Ugh, that's tough. Need better than that. It's just one of those things. Got to have better than that. All right, let's look at Ersery at left tackle. Again, bases out right there. Keeps the defensive end wide. That's all he's trying to do. Good job right there. Good technique. Defensive end goes upfield. What happens? Falls down. Lay on top of him. It's one of those things. Is it a pretty like pancake block or anything in terms of highlight reel play? No. But this is what happens when snap in, snap out against a good team. You're beat up. You're tired. Everyone's beat up. Everyone's tired, right? Second game in, 4 days or whatever it was, right? If you keep running your feet all night long, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, eventually teams break and eventually players break. Now, in this particular play, it didn't work out because 71 missed his block, and that's going to happen, right? Sometimes you do a good job and your teammates are going to let you down. That's just football. That's just life. But Aireontae Ersery, what we're starting to see when I watch his film is he's going to exert his will. He's becoming a tough player, a physically tough, mentally tough, high-effort player that's dictating the tempo of the Texans' offense to the opposition. That's right, guys. I'm going to say that again. The offensive line, led by Ersery, and mainly Ersery at this point, although some other guys are doing some good things too, they're starting to dictate their will to the opposition, just like we see here. That is a great sign for Houston. All right, from the wide copy, you can see Ersery right there at left tackle. There's the motion. He's going to fire out into him, winds him out. The guy just falls down. He just lays on top of him. Hey, you'll take that, right? Again, Ersery's guy, nowhere near the tackle, nowhere near the pile, completely out of the way. It's what happens when you just run your feet all game long. You just break the will of defenders, guys, and that's what O-line play is all about, breaking the will of the opposition. Houston hasn't had that kind of O-line in a very, very long time. They got a key part of it emerging in Ersery. All right, let's finish with some pass protection. And there's Ersery right there, of course, at left tackle. And it's going to be another stunt. 52 is going to work up the field, and he's going to delay and work outside. Defensive end's going to work up the field, but it's going to be much later, like I said, a delay before he goes inside. But once again, left tackle, left guard, Ersery and company, they handled this beautifully. Let's check it out. There's a snap. Quarterback has time, all kinds of time. Ball's deflected at line of scrimmage, unfortunately. O-line does their job, though. Let's look at Ersery. Good kick step. Right, you see the stunt right there. He's there to pick it up. It's not nearly as technically perfect as the other stunt pickup, right? He misses with his hands. He's kind of all over the place, but what does he do? Gather himself and just drive the guy out of the way. Sometimes, especially, again, late in games, good teams, it's not going to be technically perfect. You'll get some teach tape plays, right? Ersery's a good player. He'll get his chances. And he's had those plays like we showcased in this film review. But sometimes it's just about playing hard, running your feet, playing winning football, guys. Winning football. Aggressive, assertive, dictating your will to the opposition. It's not always about having the best technique, the best footwork, the best pad level, all those things you want. But the reality is, like we see in this pass protection, like we've seen this entire film review, Aireontae Ersery is quickly becoming a tempo setter for this Houston Texans team. I honestly think he's going to be a pillar of this offense for many years to come.